What is that? And now going into year 3 with us, the biggest thing I see out of Quinn now more than ever is the leadership. So it's like been this process, learning a system, what it's like to be in college. Then, okay, growing up in year 2 and now year 3, you can feel this is his team.
Coach, I have more respect than ever for people that call games on the sideline, because I'm sitting 4 feet from you and I can't even hear you. But anyway, my question is just about the journey that both you and this university have been on since the moment this was announced. You were not here yet, I don't believe, but it has been so extraordinary how it started and where it is. Everybody wonders, is Texas ready? I think you answered that last year.
Well, I think, obviously a ton of credit goes to Chris Del Conte, our athletic director, President Hartzell, Chairman Eltife, for them trusting me to come here and believing in it to go do it the way we felt like we needed to do it. And you guys are going to visit with CDC here in a little bit, but he always talks about getting us aligned. And the fact that we're aligned from the chairman of the board, the president, the athletic director, to me, and then them trusting what was needed to get done to where we wanted to go. And that was changing a roster, that was changing a mentality, that was changing a culture, that was recruiting the types of players that are needed to compete in this conference. And so, I'm probably more than anything more appreciative of them and so appreciative of our fans and the support, because 5 and 7 was not fun in year 1. I can promise you that. But to get to where we are today and the type of roster that we have and some of the success we had last year, it's been really gratifying.
All right, Coach. So, my brother likes to call it the Sarkisian way. He's a big believer in what you guys have been able to accomplish in a short time in Texas. But it's still these couple people out there like myself that saw what you guys did last year. You really exploded on the scene. Maybe more than some people had you expected to do. So how do you follow that up with this year's season, knowing that I'm looking at you guys at the schedule, you guys should beat everybody. You got 3 games out there.
Easy.
Alabama.
Oh, I know.
My expectations of Texas are up there. I'm not going to change that. You've made that way for me. So what is next for you guys, and how do you continue to go about it the way that you've been able to do it and kind of continue to grow?
Well, I think that's the challenge, right? That level of consistency that's needed. Not having to just get up for a game or 2.
Right.
It's about playing a brand and a style of football consistently, and that starts in the offseason. And if there's anything you take from a Nick Saban and that level of discipline and consistency that he had for himself, that permeated throughout that entire building and that team. So you take some of those things from people that were your mentors, and that's clearly it. Complacency is the devil right now.
Yeah.
We have got to stay driven, we got to stay focused, and we need to understand, hey, when we walk out of a tunnel with that helmet on, we're the target, right?
Yeah.
There's no more, we're the hunted. Well, we have to go hunt week in and week out as well.
Let's talk about what you're going to be hunting, so to speak. Let's throw the schedule up there, guys, if you will, to see who Texas faces in 2024. Listen, week 1's week 1. Look at week 2, and then you get into your SEC schedule a little bit later. When you look at this schedule, Coach, what kind of sticks out to you about what you'll be preparing for?
Well, August 31st at 2:30 in DKR, that's what stands out to me first. It's going to be warm, and we're going to need to be ready to play because they throw it all over the field, so I don't know how long that game's going to last, but need to be ready to play. And then obviously you get a heck of a challenge going to Ann Arbor in week 2, and you find out about some of the makeup of your team.
Yeah.
And then we know the challenge of who's going to come up from San Antonio with UTSA. They've got a great program. They've won a bunch of games. So the early slate of our schedule is going to be good for us because we're going to need to figure out who we are as we start getting into this SEC schedule down the road.
See, if you look at that schedule, everyone's circumspect.
Uh-oh.
So Jordan's mic was not hot. Let me just quickly, he's talking about everyone's hunting Texas. How do you flip the mindset? You know what the question was? I'm just going to translate for the people at home, and you go ahead.
Well, the biggest thing, like I was saying, is the mentality, right? All of us as coaches, players, we came to University of Texas because of the brand, right? Because it's a great university, because of playing in those great games. And now to do it on the stage in the SEC, we've got to go attack it, right? And like I said, that's a week in, week out thing. We can't wait. We have to recognize and understand, like, hey, in this conference, the challenges are very unique because of the quality of players and the quality of coaches in the Southeastern Conference. So there are no down weeks. You have to come prepared week in and week out with a mentality to go win the game. You can't go into these games, hey, if we just play good enough, you have to go win these games. You can't
Keep trying this risky business of having Jordan ask questions and see if it works, or I think you've been silenced for the rest. Go ahead, Paul.
Coach, you have been through so much. I mean, you had one of the premier jobs in the country at an early age. We all know what happened. As you see events like this, as you played in the college football playoff last year, I know there's no time, but have you ever stopped for a couple of minutes and think about the journey you've been on and where you are right now?
Yeah, it's fascinating. I've been fortunate to have a couple of really cool mentors in my career. Pete Carroll was incredible.
Yeah.
Nick Saban was incredible. And as I've reflected on my journey and my career and now my time here in Texas, I had to look at their careers too. And their careers really didn't springboard and take off until they were about 50 years old either. Pete Carroll had been fired twice in the NFL as a head coach. Some would argue Nick Saban was an average head coach when he was at Miami.
We can say that now.
Yeah.
And I can say to him, I can joke with him about that. But when did they take off, right? Into their 50s and into their 60s. And that's when USC takes off and Seattle does what they go do. That's when Alabama goes on this amazing run with Nick Saban. So I kind of like it to sometimes you got to figure out who you are too. And I think I've had to do some of that soul searching over my time to figure out who am I, who am I true to, because ultimately this team, our football organization, is going to start to embody my personality. And it's hard to embody a personality when you don't know who you are. And so I think more than anything is knowing who you are, being true to who you are, and now enjoy this ride of what we're able to go do right now at Texas. I just turned 50 this year, which is crazy. Crazy to think, but the fact that we're starting on this run and we're going into year 4 is pretty awesome.
Yeah, listen, that's actually great advice just for life, even outside of football. Let these fans know how much you appreciate them. They can hear you right now. They want to tell you too, but really, really cool to see the love between the Texas fans and their football head coach. Thanks to Steve Sarkisian for joining us here. We can't wait to see a whole lot more of you now.
Can I get a little Texas? Texas!
That's what I'm talking about. We have a lot more coming your way here from Austin as we thank Coach Sark. And we got a lot of football. Quandre Diggs, Marquise Goodwin, Vince Young, Jamal Charles. They're all joining our show as we celebrate the Longhorns joining the Southeastern Conference. SEC Now continues. We've got a whole lot more to show you of this great school. A facilities tour with the women's basketball program is coming. Wait to see exactly how these women get prepared for their games and then some of the fun that they have. Their head coach, Vic Schaefer, who's very familiar with the SEC. Look at Vic running up the stairs with Jimmy Dykes. He's coming up here to get ready to go for his interview, and that one's going to be great. Can't wait to see Coach up here with Jimmy and so much more. This is SEC Now, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. More from Austin carries on after this right here on the SEC Network.
We'll be right back.